Hey guys, so I figured it's time to do a review here of my 2016 Ski-Doo 900 Ace Renegade. So if you remember here in the past, I've had a multitude of different snowmobiles. My most recent personal snowmobile being my 2017 1200 4Tech. So I'm doing this review as a pure comparison to the 4Tech I had, the 800RE Tech I had in a 2013 Renegade platform, the XP, and the 600 HOE Tech Rev XP platform in a 2012 Renegade. So first of all, when I bought this sled and why I bought this sled. So I bought this sled this fall to essentially get something lower mileage than the 1200 4Tech I had before. And if I'm being quite honest, I bought this 1200 4Tech here in the GSX XR Rev XR platform before I bought this to replace my other 600 HOE Tech that I had for my partner to ride here. So why I bought this 900 was because, you know, this engine is used primarily in fleet vehicles. A lot of parts for it, easier to work on, and very, very reliable. You know, not uncommon to see these sleds going 30 to 40,000 miles if properly maintained, which I do most of the maintenance myself on these snowmobiles. So this was really close. I didn't feel like driving 3 hours to get a sled. Where I am, it seems like you have to drive 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 hours just to get a decent snowmobile. This was 20 minutes away from a person I trusted. And we just did our first ride with it yesterday here down in southern Wisconsin because we have no snow in northern Wisconsin, being January, 22nd today. So essentially we put on 120 miles on, I would say, not great groomed trails, so it's quite bumpy. You know, you really got to test the suspension out and the feel of this sled. So I'm going to tell you right away, I was very nervous buying this snowmobile because of the fact that it only has 90 horsepower, but it has amplitudes of torque. So coming from a 2017 1200 4Tech on that XS chassis, you know, I always had torque, I always had power. 135 horsepower. It was a trail beast. It was fast. It was torquey. You had torque from the 2200 RPM engagement point all the way up to redline. It was phenomenal. You know, it was really a great trail sled, and why I got rid of it was just to, you know, essentially upgrade to something with lower miles on the sled, because I rode so much last winter as we had over 3 months of riding. So, you know, to make that point, that's why I upgraded, well, I should say downgraded to this 900 Ace, just with lower miles on it. So at the end of the day, after this first ride, you know, I was very nervous setting in here. As most of us know, here on the XS chassis, you got the Eco, Standard, and Sport modes on there. So with the ICT, the Intelligent Throttle Control. So, you know, I was used to that. I was used to the lagginess of the ICT, or the ITC, I should say. So that wasn't a huge, you know, letdown for me. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. Males in general, this is a great female sled. The 900 Ace. Great female engine, great fleet engine. This is a freaking beast. The 1200 is a freaking beast. But this, I ride with my girlfriend all the time on trails. I ride with older gentlemen all the time on trails. We don't really go over 70 miles an hour at all. I don't even think I hit 65 once yesterday, in part because she just doesn't like to go that fast, and a lot of the people I ride with don't like to go that fast. The only time I go fast is when I'm riding with myself or one of my other snowmobiling partners who really likes to go hard. So at the end of the day, I was thoroughly impressed with this 900 Ace. I was more impressed with this than I was with my 1200 4Tech because of the fact that I knew what I was going to get with that 1200. I knew it had torque. I knew it had power. I knew it was a heavier chassis and it was able to take the trails and the corners great and get out of the corners how you want to. But this, looking at it and just starting it and seeing it be quiet, hearing it be quiet, man, this blew me away. This 900H engine blew me away. I was never worried about power. I was never, and it took me about 30 to 40 miles to actually settle into the sled, but I was never worried about power. I was never worried about how it put down power, in part because of the studded track. But man, I threw it into sport mode. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I barely knew a difference between this and my 1200 or this 1200 here. Unless you're going above 60, which not a lot of us truthfully do. 90% to 95% of our riding is 60 or below. This engine is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. We put on 45 miles. I filled up with gas. This put like 2.2 gallons in. So I was up to $6 and some cents for gas, if that. This, I had to put $11 in 45 miles of riding. So to put that into perspective, that was basically double the amount of gas, almost double the amount of gas. So I was getting roughly, let's see here, it was very, very cold, below zero. I was getting 20 to 21, 22 miles per gallon. That was getting typical what I got last year on my old 1200, 12, 13 miles per gallon, 14, 15 if you're lucky. So I was just blown away. And the weight difference on this 900 Ace Renegade compared to my 1200 4Tech Renegade is 503 pounds to 528 pounds. So you're getting essentially 25 more pounds on that 1200 4Tech engine. Now, for a person like me who is, 5'8", 150 pounds, that is a hugely noticeable difference. I ride with basically everything on the lowest suspension rating because I just don't weigh a lot. So I like to take corners. I like that little bit of cushion. I like to load up and then turn. I don't like everything to be stiff. I don't like it to be tippy. I like to lean into everything, and that's just how I have my suspension set. So really, I'm blown away. I'm blown away at how tossable this was, how, that 25 pounds really does make an extra difference for somebody like me, a lighter rider. If you're a heavier rider, yeah, you probably want to go up to now that 900 Ace Turbo or that 1200 4Tech engine, if you're looking at buying a used sled. But the 25 pounds made it so easy for me to lean into corners, to turn, to post, and just get out of those corners the way I really wanted to. As where the 1200, you just sat and you just enjoyed the ride. You really didn't have to work at it too much. This allows for a little bit more playability on this XS chassis, being a little bit narrower as well. And for somebody like me, I like that a lot. I like the extra playability, and I like, that 25-pound weight savings. That's huge. That is totally huge for somebody like me. So at the end of the day, wow, this blew away my expectations. It truthfully blew away my expectations. I didn't know what I was getting into when I bought it. And for the most part, for the type of riding that I do 80% of the time, it is perfect. It's truthfully perfect. When I ride by myself, I like to go fast. I like to, ride hard. But I'm by myself, so it doesn't matter if I'm keeping up or if I'm blowing somebody out of the water because I'm by myself. The 3-4 times a year that I go with somebody else who rides hard, it is what it is. You're going to be able to keep up. You're just going to have to run your sled a little bit harder. But this is a top speed of 88 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. That's still fast enough to compete with just about anybody out there. You're not going to be able to go 110, 120 like something like this. But again, who goes that fast? Who goes that fast? As a true trail rider, who goes that fast? So I'm just blown away by this engine. I'm really curious to see here what the long-term performance of this is going to be. I feel like it is going to be better than the 1200 because it does have less torque, does have less horsepower, It's going to be a little bit less wear and tear on the everything, the track, the suspension, the drivetrain of it. So I'm blown away. I'm thoroughly impressed. Please, please take a look at these. The driving dynamics of these vehicles are nothing to joke about with that torque and that ability to get around a corner really, really, really fast. You know, you're basically able to keep up with any other sled out there. It's quiet, it's reliable. I have not driven these sleds at all, except 2 miles around my golf course here with a little bit of snow we've had. We just took this on a trip where we went 70 miles from our truck and back, essentially, and we had no problems. 4 strokes for the win are the best, but specifically this 900 Ace, I am sold on this 900 Ace. Blew away expectations.